Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our last day of 2020 Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week. I'm Victoria Jamian. I'm the Basic Needs Center Coordinator for Tuffy's Basic Needs Services Center. And we are thrilled to host Housing Options and Opportunities for Students with HHAW with Laura Kraft. Laura is the Project Manager for HomeShare OC at HHAW, which is a nonprofit organization established in 1989. And they are committed to enhancing the quality of care, ensuring that safe, mission-focused, and purpose-driven services and facilities are available to all who come through their doors. As a part of the Family Solutions Collaborative, they are working to end homelessness in Orange County by 2022. Throughout this presentation, if you do have any questions, please send them to the Tuffy's Basic Needs host through the chat, and we'll have a moderated Q&A at the end. This webinar is also being recorded and will be posted to our website. And in addition, please keep yourselves muted throughout this presentation, and you can certainly utilize the chat with any questions that you may have. And now I'll turn it over to Laura to start her presentation. Thank you so much for joining us today, Laura.
Thank you, Victoria, and thank you for inviting me to share this program and introduce us to the community of college students that our program is focusing on. I am the program manager for HomeShare OC. We are one of the programs for his OC, which is formerly His House at Placentia. I'm going to give you a little bit of background as I present my slides. Let me just show, as I'm technically let's try screen sharing again, and screen share, and there we go. And it will be easier if I just start my presentation to keep flowing with what I'm talking about at the same time. So here we go. Housing Options and Opportunities for Students is the name of my presentation today. As we know, 1 in every 5 California community colleges of their 230,000 students is considered to be homeless or at risk of housing insecurity. At some time during the semester, and nearly 2/3 can't afford to eat properly, according to a new survey commissioned by the system's Board of Trustees. These students are often living in their cars or doubled up, tripled up with their families. The HomeShare OC program, their vision is to inspire people to find their purpose through intergenerational connections. Our mission in this program is to provide students an opportunity to pursue their educational goals while enriching their lives of homeowners through shared housing. Home sharing has the proven benefits of reducing housing and food insecurities, decreasing isolation and depression, and increasing the sense of belonging and purpose, and improving understanding and independence for all participants. Not only are older generations feeling this, but so are our students that are finding that distance learning is a little difficult when you have insecure internet service, living quarters, where you can find and call a place called home. Our Orange County communities we live in are very vibrant and cohesive communities. They value diversity and support those in need. As we age, we are encouraged to volunteer, take responsibility for our community members, and stay socially active. We recognize that college students are struggling with affordable housing, cost of tuition, and basic needs while attending their educational goals. Now, more than ever, we need to figure out how we can support each other. We also know that our older homeowners are struggling to age in place. They're running out of funds. They didn't save for a pandemic. They're lonely, they're isolated, and they, like I am, finding it hard to stay at home and not communicate with another person. HomeShare OC program is a way to address the social emotional needs and lack of affordable housing for mature homeowners, providers, and college students. We understand that these two generations are not likely to intersect in a professional or personal environment, but both share overlapping challenges. Some reasons that we've found are why student services are not being utilized. Some students feel like they don't need help. They're underestimating their true level and finding it difficult. Finding their true level of need and only asking for help once they realize it, or it's become a dire issue that they can't afford to live on the streets or stay with a friend anymore. The stigma or shame associated with seeking out basic needs and services. We found talking to students on an online survey that most feel that you feel embarrassed or ashamed, or you don't want to be known as the homeless person or the homeless kid. You can do it on your own. Oftentimes, however, the biggest barriers that limit students from getting help is the actual asking for it. Lack of integration support services on campus greatly diminishes and affects what student services that students are looking to get. One student will go to one department, and if they wanted a different service or to join two services, sometimes these services can't be used together. One has to be used or the other. The fear that using support services will somehow hinder the access to future opportunities like scholarships and government grants. Sorry. Another example, some of the data that we conducted online was only 18% of food insecure students across 2- and 4-year colleges look for any support on campus. Likewise, 6% of students who are experiencing housing insecurity receive housing assistance. 28% of students who experience homelessness utilize Medicaid or public health insurances. Overall, students with basic need insecurities at 2-year colleges access public benefits at a higher rate than students with basic need insecurities at 4-year colleges. So we're seeing that junior colleges or community college students are accessing government assistance, but when you go to a 4-year institution, it might have a problem with accessing your scholarships or even your financial aid packages. The typical student in 2019 paid $12,174 for housing and $4,122 for on-campus dining. When we look at statistics of saying 30% of college students report unstable living conditions, 1 out of 5 students has multiple jobs while attending colleges. 13% of students do not return to school because of financial obligations. Imagine having 2 jobs and then also attending school full-time. It's literally impossible. You're too stressed out. You can't give your proper attention to your educational goals, your study, your assignments. Most times we found that students, 5% they say, will leave school and not return to campus because they've made more funds being in the being employed than going to school because their financial aid packages don't sustain them to have just school and to living arrangements. Many college students report that their financial aid package did not cover all their living expenses. Basic cell phone, electricity. These days to rent a room around a college campus is about between $700 and $1,200 a month just for a room. And that's not ensuring that you'll get electrical or that you'll have stable internet for distance learning. 77% of new students obtain some type of financial aid, which includes loans, grants, and scholarships. And if you're like me, a former student of Cal State Fullerton, graduated in 2020, my loans were keeping me alive and keeping me going into my in my school while I chose not to work at the same time. The HomeShare program, The HomeShare program matches our living arrangements between 2 unrelated individuals. College students enrolled in school are matched with a homeowner who has a spare room available to rent. Our program is innovative because it seeks to empower homeowners who wish to remain in their homes and attain additional income. The benefits of the program would create an affordable, low-cost housing opportunity for students, provide a powerful new alternative to housing and food insecurity, isolation, loneliness, and adversity for homeowners and college students. Most home providers may live in a large house due to life changes, empty nest, loss of a spouse, or finding it difficult to cope with maintaining households alone. We facilitate the initial interview process. We assist with relocating and moving costs. We provide a mentoring service at no cost. We also have a full-time case manager. We provide ongoing supports while in the program. We also have a monthly meeting supporting academic performances and personal achievements. What that means is we would bring in career opportunity professionals, financial institution professionals to help people, students learn about financial responsibility, financial literature, understanding what it means for savings account. We would create a community. The HomeShare OC process. It's a simple process. Submit a request for HomeShare matching program. It would just be giving your name, your first and last name, your email address, a phone number, and then we would contact you. We would have you complete the home share application. It would be a requirement to submit to all program requirements, background checks, all students must be in good academic standings, college enrollment verification, 2 references, one would be personal, one would be professional, and you would be contacted with a homeowner when a match is available. The program guidelines. How long will this process take? This process would be planned on anywhere from 3 weeks to a month. Both parties can speed up the process by ensuring they provide appropriate references and that they are available to respond at our inquiry. Eligible students need to be enrolled in college full-time and be willing to provide a reasonable exchange service to the home provider. We consider a minimum of 5 hours of service exchange for a student per week. A minimal cost per month in exchange for reasonable service. Students are not caregivers. The program cannot serve individuals with current untreated substance abuse problems. The participants must have a level of emotional stability which allows mutual interest and involved in their living relationship. Participants should advocate for themselves and assume full responsibility for every step of the home share program application process. We cannot do the process unless all the documents are done and we are kept informed with current email and current phone numbers. Some people find a match quickly. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. To find the right situation for themselves, it all depends on both parties, their specific needs and preferences, the availability of the renter and the provider who can offer the qualities that you are searching for. Homeowners as well as students are responsible for outlining their living arrangements and contracts. What this means is a contract can be modified. Say you have a car and you want to know if you can park in the driveway or on the street or how that is going to go. Everything in our contract is detailed out down to laundry habits, cooking habits, shopping habits. If you feel comfortable having a pet in the house, if you feel comfortable giving them a space in the garage to store their stuff because we all have stuff. All this will be outlined and arranged in contract agreements between the 2 parties. Reducing the risk of home sharing. We have to look at, this is a risky time right now, and with the more guidelines that are happening, we're offering a little bit more secure and protection in our program. We asked a few students how they were doing their home sharing and how they were finding the rooms that they were renting. A lot of them said they were going on Craigslist, asking a friend. There was no safety behind it. They didn't have to have a clean COVID test. They didn't have to file any guidelines. They just got to rent a room from a total stranger and were in a 6-month lease and unable to get out of it. And some of them said it was more of a nightmare and they wish they would have found this program because we do the due diligence for you and make sure that these safety guidelines are followed. We also have appropriate boundaries between students and homeowners, and that should be addressed prior to the matching. You'll get to know the person you're going to live with. Take your time, interview, ask questions. Provide information, screening, and interviews for homeowners and students. I've created a booklet that helps students ask the right questions, helps all homeowners ask the right questions. Sometimes when you're on the spot and you can't think of what to ask, you need a little bit of a suggestion of maybe something that might come up when you're renting or having a roommate situation with a total stranger. We provide training on COVID-19 procedures and guidelines for living safety. We also will provide PPE and guidance and other safety measures to help you feel more secure about your living arrangements. All participants will have a full access of wraparound services. We have many partners in the community. We have partnered with Orange County food banks. We've done different food banks in the community. We've talked with PATH, which is another transitional living shelter. We have several resources that both homeowner and renter can take advantage of while they are having this short-term rental agreement. And I should probably go back. I say short-term because each contract is only 6 months. It's per semester. And we believe that home sharing OC program participants will continue to share their arrangements even after the rental agreements are over. both parties wish to continue the living arrangements, they will not be under the OC home share contracts and guidelines, but they will have their own contracts between each other. As a community member and as a nonprofit employee, we also have other services at his OC. The Homeless Intervention Services of Orange County offers other programs such as the CHESS program. It's a transitional living shelter for men, provides a shelter and support services to youth that are leaving the foster system, that are 18 to 24. This type of program is a sheltered living program. You can live there up to 2 years. You must have full-time employment and part-time school, or full-time school and part-time employment. You're expected to work towards your education and employment while saving for permanent housing during your stay. We also know that people have been reaching out to us about families. We know that on schools, program services on school help students. Our family traditional living shelter helps families. As long as you have dependent children and you are working your way on reunification, family reunification through social services, we have a housing facility in Placentia that can house up to families of 4 and 5, where they can also families of 3. They also have active case management, supportive group living environments through active case managers. They will do financial independence, benefit alignment, career development, parenting education, follow up on permanent housing, and have a second step program to help them with rapid rehousing. Another program that his OC offers is financial assistance. We have partnered with several partners in the community to help with emergency funding to provide students and their family experiencing short-term financial hardships. You can't pay your rent, your gas bill, your light bill, car payment, getting food in the house, signing up for benefits that are government benefits. We can assist with rental assistance and utility assistant referrals. We also have other services connecting rapid rehousing, credit repair, and I put their phone number at the bottom, and you can ask for Kim or Alpha, and they will be more than welcome to help you with the services that his OC Homeless Intervention Services offer. I wanted to share with you a little bit of a story that I was very happy to see that we brought together. Tracy and Angie. Tracy and Angie met through Home Share, and after meeting in Angie's home, they discussed their needs, wants, and expectations and found they had a lot in common. They were exactly what each other was looking for. Angie provided a comfort of her home, safety, secure housing. Tracy provided extra income and companionship that Angie so desperately needed. During this pandemic, we are all experiencing isolation, loneliness, depression. Our older adults in the community are experiencing it probably a lot more than students because we know technology more than they do. So this is a way to help both young and old in our community at the same time. I did have one question that somebody asked me, what if the match becomes uncomfortable once living together? We have a trial period. It's called a 2-week trial period. After you've gone through your different interviews and matching with a homeowner, there's a 2-week trial period where either party can terminate the arrangements after 2 weeks. But don't give up so quickly. Sometimes all you need to do is have honest communication and clear statements of your needs. And the program staff is available to help smooth things out so participants' relationships through their rough spots and help them have a better living arrangements. And there we go. And some of these are our community partnerships, but we have many, many more than this. This is just for the home sharing program. And these are some of the people that believe in this process and want to show that our college students that are having trouble finding affordable housing around the campuses with all of this distance learning can reach out to these programs, and we will find a way to help. Okay, there we go. There we go. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Laura. That was wonderful. It was great to hear about some awesome community programs, particularly with his OC and this home share program that students can explore, especially as you mentioned, there's a lot of support, it sounds like, geared to making this as a successful match as possible. We did have a couple of questions come through. The first one is, you shared the eligibility requirements that students have to meet to maintain while in the program. But what happens if a student fails to meet one of those requirements during the process?
We know that sometimes grades go down and times are getting hard. And some of the classes, even when I was in school, were really difficult to hold that higher grade point average. So it's a probation period. We can work with a student. We have mentors, we have professional mentors, and we can work with a student. It's not an automatic disqualification. We just would like to know that they are committed to their studies. This is a program that is for college students. And we want to match them with homeowners that want to be involved in their educational goals as well. So there's always another way to assist you. We always can have a mentor, like I said, a mentoring service. That's why we offer the monthly meetings for development and personal development. It kind of helps you come to a round table and say, hey, look, this is what's happening. Maybe it turns into a study group. Maybe some of your cohorts are the same people that are doing the home sharing, and it turns into maybe a monthly study habits.
Thank you. As a follow-up to that, how do you verify if a student is in good academic standing? Do you have a process for that?
We do ask for their TDA. We do ask for their unofficial transcripts. We can ask for one reference, an academic reference from maybe Tuffy's Basic Needs that knows the student, or maybe one of their professors who says, you know, I personally know this student and who they are. I'm kind of going on that the references and their unofficial transcripts will show how their grades are.
Thank you. You mentioned that pets could be worked into an agreement with a homeowner, but what about if a student has a family, like a child or maybe a parent or even a sibling that they might need to find a housing opportunity for?
We do have other steps through his OC. They do have a family program that if they have a dependent, they do have a sheltered living. I think it's 90 days. I want to say 90-day shelter program, and they get them into a second step, which also gets them into the HUD housing list a lot easier because they're in a program. They can get better, I would say, they can get government resources a little bit, I guess, easier because they're in a process of it. They do have a database where they work with other organizations in the community and try to find them rapid rehousing. So that's how that one would work. And this program right here is only for a renter and a rentee, a provider and a rentee. But if they do have pets, I know I've had a couple of my providers say they are, depends on the pet. It can't be a Great Dane, but maybe somebody likes a Great Dane. Every contract is individually conducted for each living arrangement.
Thank you. You're talking a little bit about the matching process, could you share a little bit more about what that looks like, maybe how it works and how you're making these matches?
Okay, so the matching process is we have a form you fill out that kind of gives a little bit, we tell you us about yourself. We want to know a little bit about yourself, your habits, who you are, what your likes, what your hobbies are, what your social social status is, like do you go out a lot? Do you stay home? Are you on the computer, a gamer? You kind of give a little bit more background to your personal self. And then we also do the same thing with the homeowner. We want to know what kind of habits they have. Are they a news watcher all the time, or do they like Jeopardy? Or do they like going out? Are they gardeners? So we kind of look at that and we kind of put a match together. Our providers are more, they will be given 3 or 4 students and they choose between them. Students are given the option also of 2 or 3 different providers and to see how their background is. So we kind of give students and providers the idea of, hey, that person might work for me. The next step would be a telephone interview. The packet I created has 25 suggested questions for each homeowner or a student to ask, because you might not think of one while you're on the phone with somebody. And then the next step would be a Zoom meeting. Get to know them face to face, see who they are, kind of have that conversation. And after that, they would come to us and say, you know what, I would like to have a face to face with them, or I think we made a match, and we facilitate that also. But as also, we do provide guidelines for it, which if you do go on any newspaper or social media and try to find a home, they don't do that. It's just come in my home, I need the money. We don't care about the guidelines. this is precaution for both parties, not just older homeowners, but this is a level of safety that you're not offered when you go to Craigslist or Zillow or anything else. We do extensive backgrounds. And the reason why we do this is we are also doing this to get funding. We're looking at funding for our program, and we're taking data. So as a student, as a former student, I'm looking at giving questionnaires to see the quality of life and how this arrangement works out. I'm always curious on putting two strangers together and seeing the collaboration and seeing what the outcome is after the pre and post tests that I give. They're not very difficult. They're just asking about, your quality of life and who you are. So that helps us for our funding to keep the program going.
Thank you so much for clarifying that. It's really great to hear there's a lot, like I said earlier, a lot of support geared towards making this as successful as possible. The last question that we have that came in is, so we talked a little bit about the home share application process. There's, like you said, there's a timeline with that, but you also shared some other resources in the HHAW portfolio, if you will. So if a student is experiencing an emergency, like they need housing as soon as possible, like a same-day placement, could they call HHAW for that emergency support?
They could call that for emergency support. We do have the home that we have in Fullerton that's 18 to 24. We do also have other, I know that there is, it's a key, I want to say the key one where they offer a motel for a short term for people that are having experiencing homelessness and are in urgent needs. I don't know all the urgent need services, but I know if they contact HHAW, they have been around for about 30, they have been around 30 years and have been in the homeless programs and intervention for that many years. So I know that the girls there and the staff there would know more, but yes, emergency housing, we will find and connect a student right away. And we have quite a few beds for something like that.
It's great to hear. Thank you so much for sharing that. I don't have any other additional questions, but again, thank you so much for joining us today, sharing this information about this great community resource, especially, during COVID and how it might be able to support and bring people together in our community. So everyone joining us today, thank you so much. We hope you'll join us for our last Hunger and Homelessness Awareness event today. It's Getting Fresh with CalFresh at 2 o'clock. As a reminder, this webinar will be recorded and posted to our website. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for letting me share my program. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.